Who is the recruiter of Squid Game? The recruiter of Squid Game is one of the most beloved characters among fans. His mysterious and disturbing nature has made him quite interesting. But what do we really know about him? Where does he come from? And what is his philosophy? These are questions we will answer. Today on CharlieTales, we will analyze the character. We'll look into his motivation, history, and ending. Ready? Let's begin. The recruiter of Squid Game is a character played by the popular actor Gi-hun. This character has no known name, so we all call him the recruiter, as he is responsible for attracting players to Squid Game. He tests them with a game of dakji and then offers them the opportunity to enter the tournament. But where does the recruiter come from? He tells us that in his youth, he joined Squid Game as a pink guard. This was many years ago, and it makes sense since the island's records reveal that the tournament has been running for decades. The recruiter started as a circle-masked guard. We know this because he himself says he spent years burning the bodies of players. Circles are the lowest link in the organization and are tasked with handling the corpses of players. This makes it clear that he began at the very bottom of the Squid Game hierarchy. However, he later climbed in importance. He became a triangle and eventually a square. He says everything changed when they put a gun in his hand. At that moment, he felt as if his existence was finally recognized. This makes sense since in Squid Game's hierarchy, squares have a leadership position and are the only ones who use handguns. At this point in the story, the recruiter gained a value he didn't have before. Squares are the only ones who can talk to the players, dictate the rules of the games, and carry a gun to shoot specific targets in important situations. This differentiates them from triangle guards. The latter carry machine guns because their job is to kill players en masse. Triangles have more powerful weapons but do not decide, judge, or speak. They only follow orders. Squares, on the other hand, lead. Here, the recruiter also shares something important. He says that one day during the games, he came across a player who seemed familiar to him. That player was his father, but he had been eliminated from the games. In that situation, the recruiter did not hesitate for a second to kill him. At that moment, he realized he was made for this. If the recruiter became a square, it was because he earned the organization's trust. As a square, he was allowed to meet the frontman and likely even saw him without his mask. After this process, he became a recruiter. Both the frontman and the old man Il-nam recognized his loyalty to the organization and gave him this important job. This was the recruiter's biography. But there are more important details that we can only understand if we analyze his philosophy. The recruiter is a mentally unbalanced man. He feels great disdain for people, specifically for the players of the games, meaning people who have fallen into disgrace and poverty. While working as a guard, he constantly repeated a phrase to himself: "These are not people. They are nothing but trash, completely useless to this world." He said this to himself to dehumanize the victims. This made his work with the corpses very easy, because to him, he was only sparing them suffering. Over the years, this phrase became ingrained in his mind. The peak of this obsession came when he killed his own father in the games. He tells us he didn't hesitate for a second to do it. This happened because by this point, he had spent years dehumanizing the players. They stopped being people, and his father was just another player, someone worthless. That's why it was so easy for him to kill him. It's most likely that the recruiter was already a disturbed person before joining Squid Game. But so many years working there finished ruining his mind. Squid Game doesn't have a normal working environment. This place destroys human dignity and regards people's lives as worthless. The recruiter absorbed all of this and made it part of his ideology. Another important point is that the recruiter is someone who enjoys the games. In episode 1 of the new season, we see him buying bread and lottery tickets to offer to the homeless in the park. This has nothing to do with Squid Game. The recruiter does this in his free time for his own amusement, using his own money. In this sense, he is similar to characters like the old man Il-nam or even the frontman. All three are obsessed with the games and use these events to test their ideologies on people. In the recruiter's case, he offers the homeless two options, the bread or the lottery ticket. But the homeless always choose the ticket and win nothing. With this, the recruiter seeks to demonstrate that they are pathetic and prefer an illusion over something as important as real food. Another characteristic of the recruiter is that he is quite sadistic. He enjoys the death and suffering of his victims. At the end of the game with the homeless, he takes the opportunity to destroy all the bread in front of them. He gains nothing from doing this, but he does it because he enjoys causing pain to the players. When he finishes crushing the bread, a big smile forms on his face, satisfied with what he did. In the same episode, he captures Gi-hun's friends and forces them to play a twisted game of rock, paper, scissors. When the game ends, he kills one of them and remains unmoved by the blood or screams. It's clear that this man is a sociopath who enjoys the suffering of others. And we come to the grand finale, the confrontation between Gi-hun and the recruiter. This scene is essentially a clash of philosophies between the two characters. We already know the recruiter's philosophy. Players are not people. He says that Gi-hun is no different. He is just another player, a worthless gambler. And if he won Squid Game, it was only by luck. To prove his point, the recruiter challenges Gi-hun to a game of Russian roulette. In this game, Gi-hun must show the recruiter that he is wrong. People have value and are capable of great things. It's a battle of two philosophies. Here the recruiter doesn't control fate. He doesn't know when the bullet will come, but he is sure he will win, because Gi-hun will be a coward and give up. When they reach the end of the game, the possibility of death is very high, and the recruiter tells Gi-hun that he won't have the courage to pull the trigger. The recruiter challenges Gi-hun, saying he will likely break the rules and use the gun to kill him. If this happens, the recruiter wins because it would prove his point, that Gi-hun is trash, without value or honor. However, Gi-hun didn't give up. He didn't stop and shot himself in the head. Luckily, there was no bullet. Gi-hun won. But don't be mistaken, he didn't win because he survived the game. He won because he proved to the recruiter that he had the courage to finish the game. If we look at the recruiter's face, we'll see his surprise. He can't believe Gi-hun dared to shoot himself. Here, Gi-hun defeated the recruiter by breaking his core philosophy. Gi-hun is a player, but he's not trash, as the recruiter claimed. Gi-hun is a brave man, willing to fight to survive. Likewise, all poor or failed people have dignity and value. Everyone is capable of overcoming adversity. Gi-hun didn't kill the recruiter with his own hands, but destroyed him in a battle of ideologies. Faced with the situation, the recruiter shoots himself in the head. We might think he did it out of his obsession with the games and his desire to follow the rules. But the reality is that he shot himself because he was defeated. His core belief was overcome by Gi-hun. For years he thought the players had no value, but he was wrong. In the end, he had no choice but to accept his fate with the little honor he had left. In conclusion, the recruiter is a fascinating character who, with very little screen time, demonstrated immense potential. His story and ending are splendid and teach us a lot about the human condition and how a person can become corrupted when participating in something as dark as Squid Game. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.